Good morning, everybody. It is April the 9th, 2018. Time to kick off another trading week. We'll have treasury auctions this week. The news slate will pick up a little bit, although it's pretty clean today. So we should have, via the news and comments on trade wars, etc., interjections of volatility in our markets, which we need to prosper as day traders. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or overcompensated for the impact of any of certain market factors, such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact that they're designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. Well, what a weekend we had down in Wichita. We had our first measurable snow in 3 years. Awakened Saturday morning with a couple inches and had sleet and ice on Sunday morning. So we got the back end of those storms that were running east to west across the upper Midwest into the Northeast, I believe. The dogs loved it. Not bad from a moisture standpoint either. The big weekend news, Trump tweeted over the weekend that didn't think that a trade war would develop between the U.S. and China because it shouldn't, and that China would acquiesce on some of our demands because it was the right thing to do. That remains to be seen. No other news really to speak of outside of Israel attacking a Syrian air base. And there was a reported Syrian attack with poisonous gas again. There has been no response from the administration, but it's out there. Right now, I think our market, especially today, given the lack of other news, will be subject to news spikes, either on trade wars, something on U.S. attacks Syria. It's not the right window because it's daylight over there. It usually happens at night, etc. So we'll just have to, you can't trade without protective stops is my point. Okay, I don't have really strong feelings about today's markets, given the lack of news, and it is Monday morning. Treasuries and gold, pretty easy to see that the trend is down because the Fed's raising interest rates again in June, unless some big obvious piece of news comes out. So 29s to 01s, sell 1. 3 to 7, sell 2. I think we got ourselves a trading range with a lower bias. Definitely have a B in the overnight session. 25 to 21 is our first buy area. I'd like to get it done in the 17 to 21 area, but that is support as it stands right now. Then 13 to 17 for buy 2. I like the buy 2 level. Much better than the buy 1, but that's where support is right now. And we can't ignore that. Or we shouldn't. We hope everybody had a great weekend. My wife went to see Chappaquiddick and got refreshed on the facts. It's a known story. It's amazing that Hollywood would even allow that to be made into a movie or published. And it was an interesting little side story on that the author of the book that the movie was based on mysteriously committed suicide. So the unexplained murders for people that go after Democrat icons continues. I hadn't realized that either. So we do live in interesting times. How many of you know people that have been murdered? How many of you know people in your inner circle that have been murdered? And I would dare say you could count them on maybe a couple of fingers. And when you look at all the people that have been murdered on the national scene for speaking out or doing things against political operatives or political powers. It's makes you wonder. Okay, here is the bond. We've got the London high right here at 26. So we'll make 28 to the buck. Number 1, 3 to 7, sell 1. 11 to 15, sell 2. We're dealing with a B. Might take a 26 to get in. Short, we'll just have to see how it goes with no news. Usually it takes a while when there's no news for things to set up. On the buy side, 16 to 20, number 1. 9 to 13, buy 1. 1 to 5, buy 2. Had an unknown win the Masters. I think Tiger Woods said he had to go back to the drawing table. I think he finished 4 over par, which was quite a bit off the pace. That's a tough game. Everybody, you think in terms of yards and distance to the green, par 5, par 3, par 4, whatever it happens to be. And so you think in terms of these very large or broad measurements, but golf at its essence is a game of millimeters. It's where your club strikes the ball. And really, really a very, very difficult sport. More difficult than you'd think if you look at how most people play the game. Well, that's the reason most people play the game pretty poorly when you get right down to it. Okay, here we are in gold. Frankfurt high was 36. London high was 34.5. So 34, 36, sell 1. And 39 to 41, sell 2. I don't follow golf, so I appreciate that input, Scott. If there's anything slower than baseball on television, for me it's got to be golf. I really don't watch anything. I mean, I'd rather be out doing it. If I'm not out doing it, football I'll get into a little bit. But last year I gave up on that too. How much more chickified can the NFL get? Not that I have anything against chicks, if you know what I mean. Shouldn't use that term. Females. How's that go? Okay, the euro. We're at resistance right here, 50. So 50 to 60, sell 1. 75 to 85, sell 2. The obvious resistance is 124 even, a round number. On the buy side, 23.25, buy 1. The buck, buy 2. Again, I don't have real strong feelings. It is Monday morning. Quite often we come in scratching our heads, so that's kind of where I am this morning. By Friday, we'll know exactly what we should have done, right? Just kidding. We're better than that. Okay, crude oil. One story was out. Israel attacked, first story was out. The U.S. denied any attacks on Syria. The second story was out. Russia accused Israel of a missile attack on a Syrian air base. Now there's a story out. It was done with aircraft. I mean, I don't know. And of course, Israel is not saying anything, as you would expect. So here we sit with tensions rising in the Middle East, but Syria is not a huge player in the oil game. So pointed higher right now, so got a pretty good chance of getting up to the buck. 62.75, 63, sell 1. 63 1/4, 63.50, sell 2. On the buy side, 62 even, 62 and a quarter by 1, 61.50, 61.75 by 2. Having come off my recent illness, I did learn one thing, being sick, that there is a cough drop out there by Walgreens, or honey lemon, that actually works. Most cough drops don't work worth a darn. That one's pretty darn good. A little bit more expensive, but based on results and effectiveness, worth the money in my small medical opinion. Walgreens honey lemon, if you happen to catch a cough. Not that I'm wishing it on anybody. Okay, here we are. Basically 25 is resistance. We got this last rotate up on Friday at 34. I got an attractor at 30. The dent is at 34.25. So this 30 to 35 area is pretty good resistance. All equity markets around the globe are up because of Trump's comments on the trade war with China. It's also earnings seasons. And they can impact the markets. So comments from Trump, comments from the administration, comments out of China, news spikes. The earnings numbers are the big ones that move the market are usually before or after the day trading session. So, but the consensus right now is that earnings will be up 5.3%, if memory serves me correctly, over the first quarter of last year. That's a pretty healthy increase. So that's where we find ourselves. There's no news today. So here we sit. We've got P's. If we put all this together, everything is pointing up. You can see volumes high. So my guess is we're going to trade it a little higher. I think the long side is the first side to trade from. And so first sell will be 29 to 34, followed by 39 to 44. And on the buy side, leaning against this value area low, 11 to 16 by 1. That'll pick up this level right here. Pick up that level right there. That'll be our first little band of support. Then we've got this low at 8. We've got a low right here at 01. And we got the buck, so I've got 1 to 6 for buy 2. Just kind of putting it in. Got these two numbers right here, and so you can see like a limit buy at 2603 would have a structural advantage, and on the sell side a limit sell at 33 would pick up those two numbers. That's where the structure would have you. Again, I don't have a very strong feeling. We'll just kind of have to let the market unfold, and we're pretty good at that. Sometimes on Monday mornings it's an hour and a half, an hour before the Emini makes its move. We could be looking at one of those mornings today. Okay, it's going to take a bit to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that. I will be back with you as soon as possible.